Hello everyone, welcome back to some more Hearts of Iron 4. Still not sure whether this music is copyrighted or not, but I did find out that it is one of the pre-order bonuses. You get some music, so that's fun. I think it's like Allied and Axis marching music. So that's fun. Right, let's get back up to speed. We'll keep it at speed 4 for a while. Want to get things going. Don't want to spend too long in the pre-war era. What the hell? Reinforce the Empire for extra national unity. Bloody Edward VIII is throwing it all away, unfortunately. Bastard. If there was one game that needed the CK2 assassination mechanics, it would be Hearts of Iron 4. Just kill this guy, please. Service overseas is a thing we can do. Oh dear. Apparently either Belgium or the Netherlands has some... The Belgians have a fascist party. Oh my goodness. We could potentially invade Belgium then. Puppet focus. Interesting. So if Belgium decides to go ahistorical, we can decide to go and puppet them. Because you know, that's our stuff now. Can't let fascists have stuff. They'll break it. Yeah, we still can do air defense, the shadow scheme, or general rearmament. Sadly. We can go for... Well, the only thing we really can go for is service overseas. Gives us a little bit of army, navy, and air experience. So we can maybe at some point customize our army. We're still getting a tiny bit of experience from exercises, which is still eating away at our production. We do have an extra factory building things, so that's good. We're working on our support equipment deficit. Oh, hello! The Spanish Civil War just kicked off. A civil war has erupted in Spain. Several generals seeking to overthrow the current government in Madrid have issued a pronunciamiento, and a large portion of the Spanish armed forces have answered their call to arms. This right-wing nationalist faction has occupied much of Spain, including the overseas territories. They have overseas territories? They have overseas territories? Really? Where? Do they actually? I'm starting to doubt that they actually do, but I don't know. Seems like it would be in either in the South Americas or Africa, but oh well, let's ignore that for now. Loyalist forces and volunteers have assembled under the left-wing Republican government, so those are the democratic ones, and you have the fascists, who basically decided to stage a coup. Determined to resist the putsch to the last breath, the Battle of Spain, no, the Battle for Spain, has begun. What will this mean for Spain? Nationalist Spain has declared war on Republican Spain. Oh! There's some nationalist Spain over here. And over here. So that is not quite as far. We also have a little nationalist Spain over here, apparently. So I was correct about there being a little bit of South Africa. A little bit, at least a little bit of Africa in there as well. We've got places like Haiti over here. Cuba. We control Jamaica, so that's good. But yeah. The fascists can now... Yep, there we go. Largest world tension generated by the German Reich, 2.4%. Latest change. sent 3 volunteer divisions to Republican Spain? Really? I thought the Germans would support nationalist Spain, not Republican Spain. Huh. That's weird. We can't send any volunteers. We need world tension to be at 50%. Because we are a democratic country. We can't do anything that would support war or anything like that. So yeah, we can't help them. Oh no, there we go. The Soviets sent volunteer divisions to Republican Spain. The Germans sent over to nationalist Spain. That makes sense. That's more like it. Interesting. Yeah, so we're back up to 4% tension. We need about 20% more until we can start guaranteeing. Trade and supply. Does that mean we're actually getting stuff from trade? I wonder. We have 99. Oh yeah, we're exporting to Canada.
Lately I've been staring at the stars above.
We're importing oil from America that we're then exporting to Canada and Australia. I don't get it anymore, but that does mean we should be getting some stuff from them for that. Let's tone it back down a little bit. That should mean we have more civilian factories, right? The games of the 11th Olympiad. The 11th Olympic Games were recently held in Berlin, Germany, attended by athletes from 49 different nations across the world. The 1936 Summer Olympics are the first in history to have enjoyed limited live television coverage. The Games were a significant propaganda victory for the German regime, which spent lavishly on the event. German athletes saw the most success, winning 33 gold medals, while the Americans came in second with 24. 4 of these were won by Jesse Owens, the single most successful athlete of the Games. This is just a random, well, I wouldn't say random, it's just a regular event. It doesn't really do anything, but the Games are concluded. You know, it's a thing that happened. Let's get us some more factories in Yorkshire after this. There we go. Just make sure that they stay busy. Peace Treaty, the Treaty of Addis Ababa. It suddenly took 1 state. Ethiopia has been annexed and 1665 equipment has been seized. So, because we now produce equipment in the game, that means we can actually seize it. So, Germany, if they take France, will end up with a bunch of French tanks and things like that. And they can then use that for their own nefarious gains. Or, you know, do peaceful things. It's not that hard. But yeah, don't tell the Axis that. They'll get pissed and shoot us. As they do. I'm curious. I'm really curious. Like, we are exporting oil to Canada and Australia. That means we should be able to get some factories from that, right? Maybe we do, I don't know. I can click over to construction. Oh, there we go. We get 5 from trade, so we do actually get stuff from that. That's great. We can't actually export to other countries manually, but they will automatically come to us. So that's good. You know, it's something a little bit in depth. We can't really see how well the war is going here. We can tell that it's definitely a mess. We've got 2 pockets of Republican Spain's resistance over here. We've got some troops isolated in here without supplies, so these are probably going to die. Oh, mechanical computing. They've also got some troops in Bilbao with a port, so they can actually send supplies over there. Research time, minus 3%. That's good. Now we can't really do anything here anymore. We could try the computing machine, but it's so far ahead of time. It's gonna take over a year to research. We might as well try and do something else. In Hearts of Iron 3, I find myself going for ahead of time tech a lot. But it seems like in this game you'd almost rather not, which is interesting. It's a good change in my opinion. Destroyer sub-detection. None of these are mutually exclusive, they're literally just things to get, so that's good. Submarine surface detection, no. I think we'll probably get convoy sailing before the war. Although it's not really anything to hurry right now. GH and I classes, interesting. Yeah, you can just see, 7.29 years ahead of time, it's gonna take like 6 years. So it's well worth waiting for that. We could get the King George V class of battleship. Or cruisers. I'm gonna wait on that for now. We could get some anti-tank. That might not be a bad idea. If we're gonna be fighting in France, etc. Or we can start researching the Matilda again. Now, important to note, if we, for example, go for the Matilda, we can also get light tank destroyer too, light self-propelled artillery, and light self-propelled anti-air. Basically, we rip off the turret and use the chassis as whatever we want, basically. That's pretty cool. And then end goal is the Centurion main battle tank, which requires either the Comet medium tank or the Black Prince heavy tank. The Churchill actually splits off into the Tortoise, which is interesting. Tortoise is a very heavily armored tank destroyer that's quite slow. Doesn't have a turret, it has a gun that has a very wide traverse still, so it's pretty good. We'll see if we get it or not, but still working on sport weapons. We can get Marines and paratroopers. And then we also get a free division template, so basically you need to pay with army experience to modify things like that, and we don't have any yet. So free divisions are pretty good. Or at least templates. I'm not entirely sure what I want to grab at the moment. We might very reasonably decide, like, hey, we'd like better Halifax bombers? Or like Lancasters, perhaps? I don't know. I feel like getting to know our Air Force better would be a very good idea. We've got Sea Gladiators, that's all good. We'll spray in the Shark. I don't know, Spitfire is too far ahead to really consider. I think we're gonna go with the Halifax Strategic Bomber. There we go. And we have a request for military access from Republican Spain. Sure. Like, I held nothing against Republican Spain. Now we can actually see some units from them here. That is because we have Gibraltar over here, of course. The key to the Mediterranean. As well as the Suez Canal. Also firmly in our control. That's great. We can use that at some point. Just the fact that we own it and have troops there is going to be great when the war breaks out. Not that a war is gonna break out or anything, but you know. You never know. Rather be safe than sorry. How are the troops doing? They're all regulars. Great stuff. Their organization is low because we're exercising, of course. Now, it's an interesting question whether we want to stop practicing and stop building up army experience. I think our general doesn't get any, or our field marshal rather, doesn't get any experience from exercising. God, the music is so good in this. I love it. It's a lot like the, this particular track is a lot like it was in Hearts of Iron 3, but it still has a different sound to it, you know? Keeps it fresh, keeps it cool. Ooh. Service overseas is done. We'll check out world tension in just a second. So we now have a bunch of Navy and air experience. World tension is at 3%, so we still can't do anything over here. Okay, we have basically two choices here. Aside from Benelux intervention, which I won't do yet. It's also going to increase world tension. And lower opinions of us, which is not what I want. We can choose between Mediterranean Bastion, which adds a coastal fort and a naval base to Alexandria. You know, it helps us defend the Suez Canal. Or we can go for Colonial Elite. Gains National Spirit Colonial Elite, which grants minus research time. Doing it! Political power is at 140, so we are almost at the point of modifying our government. Yeah, just 10 more. Then we can modify things like our laws. Go to a free trade deal for extra factory output, construction speed, and minus research time, for example. Or we could get a tank designer for extra reliability and soft attack, lower research times. There's a lot of different options in here. Might actually go for industrial concerns first to reduce industrial research time. There's a lot of stuff we can get, I'm not gonna lie. Political advisor, so if you want to go communist, for example, you get a political advisor. Or extra political power gain. Ooh. That would allow us to switch our personnel fast. Yep, there we go. We have political power. We can do things. So we can get the backroom backstabber bloke. Neville Henderson over here. This would gain us 5% political power extra. That would be minus... That would actually be an increase of like 20% from what we have right now. It would add... I don't know. 5% of 1 is 0.005 times 2 because we have 2, so that would gain us plus 0.1 per day. Yeah, that would be beneficial to us. Like, if we want to modify our government, that's the way to go. I'll start off with that, I think. Seems like a good idea. Now, we could have gone for something like research time extra, which also pretty good, but this will help us snowball a bit. And we are in October of 1936. So things are happening. Army experience is up to 11 now. That's pretty good. Let's take a quick look. Can we edit anything here? We could add a recon company. That seems pretty good. 11 defense. A little bit of breakthrough, soft attack. A lot of movement. Like river, hills, forest, mountain, plains. That's really helpful in general. It would give us extra production costs, require extra manpower, extra equipment. I feel like a recon company would be very beneficial. Yeah, we'll save it. And now, of course, we have to send everyone new stuff. So that should take some... Yep, there we go. There goes our manpower. Through the floor right away. And some of our armies are affected by that, so they're no longer regulars. They are now just trained. Which is fair enough. And they are getting experience back once again, so that is good. Now what we could potentially do is go to like production and build a new aircraft. Create a variant of the Hurricane. Give it a little bit of extra weapons at the cost of speed and reliability. So, I don't know, it might be a good idea to have extra reliability. You know what, let's do that. Then we'll start producing the... Actually, let's not do it like this. Cancel the production line. We're gonna switch our interwar fighters, the Gladiators, over to Hurricane Mark 1. Just one quick thing I'd like to check. There we go, we have more production efficiency. We'll quickly go out and check to see if the stats are like any better or any worse. We've got more reliability, which is always nice. Agility and air attack and everything is the same, so it does take these base standards and modifies them by, for example, if we go ahead and, you know, add extra firepower, etc. Our reliability is gonna tank, but yeah, it takes the base stats from everything itself. Okay, that's good to know. That will be useful for things later on. And then we have the Hurricane Mark 1 over here, being produced a little bit more efficiently. But of course that will build up over time as we keep producing it. Very interesting. And there we go, we have built all of our destroyers. Now we're just waiting for some light cruisers here to be built. King Edward abdicates. Prime Minister Baldwin made it quite clear that the dignity of the King Emperor will be impugned if he were to marry not just a commoner, but also a divorcee. And if that was not bad enough, an American. Ugh. After much soul-searching, His Majesty has chosen love over duty and has chosen to abdicate. His younger brother Albert will assume the mantle as King George VI. London bookmakers are already taking odds on whether the shy man will make it to his own coronation. Removes national spirit Edward VIII. Gains national spirit George VI. Which grants popular figurehead national unity plus 15%. Hello. So we now have base unity 65.4%. King George VI is boosting that to 80%. That's a very reasonable number. Now we have 3 civilian factories and that just simply cannot do. We go to Dover. Already has a radar station, alright. East Anglia also has one. Cornwall has one. Wales, etc. don't. So there goes my plan of trying to build radar there. Ah, anti-air reduces bombing damage. Interesting. It's max on the Greater London area. I'd like to get some anti-air in Sussex and East Anglia then. And maybe just surround this whole area with a bit of AA. For unrelated, unwarlike reasons. You know, just a guess. So with Italy declaring peace recently, they did lower the world tension a bit. But then they increased it back up a little bit when they sent some volunteer divisions to nationalist Spain, who is faring quite well from the look of things. We now have encouraged colonial elite, which will help us researching things. World tension is at 3%, so we still can't do any of these. You know, the good stuff that we're waiting for. We can make everyone like us by getting Commonwealth ties. Or we can fortify East Asia, so we will fortify Hong Kong and Singapore. Get a free civilian factory from that, which will help us build more. Or we can go for the motorized infantry divisions. Might not be a bad idea. But we aren't really building many infantry right now, so I'm actually going to pass on that. We're going to go with Hong Kong and Singapore. There we go. But yeah, the Nationalist Spain has taken over Bilbao and a little pocket over here as well. But it's starting to look like Republican Spain might get cut in half here. They still hold their capital of Madrid. But it's not looking good for the Republicans, in my opinion. Although, ooh, construction 1. Construction speed plus 10%. We also finished dispersed industry. Very nice. It's 0.02 days ahead of time. We'll start focusing on dispersed industry, number 2. And construction. Speed or... Now let's get machining tools. And 1 day for support weapons. Great! That's gonna help our army do things. Extra defense, breakthrough, extra everything basically. Now, do we want to get paratroopers? Or anything? Not sure. Anyway, I am loving the resource bonuses that we're getting. 190 days instead of 200. It's not a whole lot, but, you know, it does make a little difference. And we're gonna need it. At this point, I think I might go for interwar artillery. I don't know, we don't really use any artillery yet. Not really working on land doctrines either. Tempted to go for convoy sailing, because it will help us fight submarines better. You know, submarines, they're quite dangerous to Britain. No, instead we'll start probably construction speed. Although resource gain efficiency is also pretty tempting. Now let's go with construction 2. It's only like 1 day extra time for research anyway. Halifax come along nicely. These troops are cut off, so if Republican Spain knows what it's doing, they might be able to cut off some troops here and clear the unit stacks. The war with Republican and Nationalist Spain, the Civil War, is very much about lack of units, not able to do many things properly. It's a weird war. A lot of territory, a lot of provinces, and not a whole lot of troops fighting. We can actually see some Italian tanks attacking Republican Spain over here. Or actually, from the look of things, Republican Spain might be attacking into Nationalist Spain. Or the other way around, I'm not entirely sure. Either way, it's a mess. That basically sums that conflict up. Is there any way we can try to increase our manpower pool? Aside from getting rid of the... negative modifier, which we will get rid of at some point. Yeah. I think it might be a good idea to change our law early on so that we have more manpower available to recruit from. And then the 0.12 modifier should be able to affect more people. Because right now we are not growing our manpower at all, and that's going to get us into trouble at the war start. Like, I don't want to say too much, but that's not going to help us get anywhere. How are the logistics looking? have 59 or 60. Oh, we can actually see. Interesting. If we click on it, we'll be able to see we are still down 9,500 infantry equipment. We are down 130 support equipment because of the recent addition of a support battalion. We're up 130 Vickers tanks, and we have 61 Gladiators stored up. So what's basically happening is we are producing Hurricane Mark 1s, and the old Gladiators are being stored up in the warehouse. Interesting. I like it. It's a bit different to get used to, but I like it. And I will go ahead and queue up. You know what? We'll queue up a single Nelson class. Something to keep them working on while we are producing convoys and things like that. We are up to nearly 850 convoys. We're going to lose them just as quickly, so nothing to worry about there. What I might go ahead and do is tell my construction to start building a single military factory in Yorkshire. And then raise it all the way up over here. Well, I say raise it all the way up. We're going to be slowly working on that. Actually make it 2. And increase its priority even further. There we go. Done mid-April with the first factory. Good. And then we'll slowly start expanding our infantry equipment production line. We're still down 9,000. Yeah, we can see airplanes from this line are currently being used for upgrades. Oh, Fortify East Asia is done. Good. Extra civilian factory to help us build, and an extra naval dockyard. Tension is dropping again. German Reich signed the Anti-Comintern Pact. With whom exactly? Maybe Italy or something, I don't know. Anyway, they basically agreed to each other that, hey, we don't like the Soviets. Do you like the Soviets? You don't? Let's sign this piece of paper saying we don't like them. Oh, interesting. We can add a lot of stuff in there, near Burma. Japan will dislike us, but we'll get air bases, infrastructure, and a military factory. Or we can get a bunch of coastal forts in Singapore or Hong Kong. Or we can help Canada and South Africa, the Raj. Not entirely sure yet about that. I think... yeah, I think we'll go for the Singapore strategy and then hold Hong Kong perhaps. Though let's get Commonwealth ties first. We want our people to like us before we get into war. That seems like a decent idea. We're gonna have to wait a year for the Nelson class battleship, but then we'll have a better surface fleet to tackle Italy and the like. Also, we'll have to take out France's fleet if they decide to lose the war against Germany. Not that there's going to be a war, but there might be a war. It's not going to be pretty. Everything's going on production otherwise. We're pretty good. We're up to 35% efficiency, which is not a lot, but it's pretty good, all things considered. Construction. Factories come along nicely. We do have an extra civilian factory helping us to build the one in Yorkshire now, which is pretty useful. Construction speed plus 20%, it's not bad. We are suffering because of the civilian economy. Apparently they don't take that into account over there, which is interesting. But we do have 6 civilian factories from trade now. So apparently our exports have increased. Yet again. Yeah. Interesting. I like this. It's a lot of fun. Low manpower still. Ideally, I'd like to be able to... Which one is it again? Huh. What would this do? Republican or nationalist Spain against democracy influence. Huh. Or we could fortify Gibraltar. That's interesting. Now what I'm looking forward to is this, the Military Training Act. We've researched the Handley Page Halifax. Good. Again, I feel like Britain is very much a nation that lives or dies with its air force. Not quite sure what the heavy fighter is good for. Air defense. Let's compare that to the Hurricane. Air defense only 10. There you go. It has more operational range. Double the air attack, so yeah, there you go. Oh, it actually says something. Our bomber force needs escort from enemy fighters all the way to their targets and back. In order to provide this escort, we must assign fighter aircraft with bomber range. Out of necessity, they are larger, slower, and less agile than light fighters, though they can carry significant armament. So that's interesting. Yeah, fighters really have a lack of range. Now, having said that, yeah, 3,000 range, that's a lot. Especially compared to like 700. We're not gonna make that. No way in hell we are. So that's a valid reason. We'll go for the Blenheim then. Improved machining tools are on their way, that's good. Construction and dispersed industry is all happening. We do have a total of minus 5% research now, so that's good. I feel like the colonial elite is very much helping out with that. Mostly because they are. Very interesting. Army experience is up to 8 again. We're getting a little bit more expertise every day because we have a little bit more troops now with all those extra support battalions. And I think I'll just keep drilling so that we keep building up a little bit of stuff. Can we actually get a report that tells us, like, no, we don't. I think it went up a little bit there, so we could have some attrition take place over there. I don't know, I'd like to see if there's a report for attrition somewhere, because, I don't know. Knowing this game, I wouldn't be surprised if there was. I mean, it's only 5% because reliability is high, but that is going to mean it will take a lot of attrition over time. Like, over time, you're gonna have to make so many rolls for like 5%. There are gonna slip a couple of... I mean, a couple of them are gonna slip through. You're gonna lose some stuff eventually. It's just a matter of time. We did finish our first military factory, which is good. That means we should be getting more... Yeah, we have more production now. Up to 29 per day. And it will tell us that we will fill our requirement in like 480 days. It's balancing all over the place for some reason. So that's interesting. We'll probably want to increase our support equipment after this. I don't know, I feel like we might be able to lower production on the Vickers Mark II. Ooh, there's the Commonwealth ties. I'm not sure if we actually get control of these civilian factories if we develop Canada, etc. But it's gonna make them more able to help us out. And it will also give them more factories to be able to trade with us if need be. World tension is staying very low, Jesus. Let's see. Again, I want to get the gas mask, but it's going to take longer. So we're not going to be able to do that. Let's go for... radar would be good. But we can't get it. We can't get anything. Oh, I just noticed. Add maximum anti-air in East Anglia, Sussex and Cornwall, so... Sussex, there we go. East Anglia will be over here. Yeah. Seems like we'll cancel that then for a while. Until we confirm or deny whether that's still a thing. Build another factory over here next. Let's keep him busy. And we'll probably add a land fort in Gibraltar. As well as a coastal fort on Malta. Like, the only way they're going to be able to take that is either by air landing or by naval landing. Knowing the Italians, they're probably going to go for naval. So it's not a bad idea to fortify the place before they get there. Yeah, we need to set a new national focus. Hindenburg incident. Disaster was narrowly averted today when a diesel fuel leak was discovered on the German passenger airship Hindenburg as it came into dock at the Lakehurst Naval Air Station in the United States. The leak was promptly repaired. Had it gone unnoticed, flammable vapor could have resulted in a fire that would have engulfed the entire airship. Critics have long questioned the wisdom of passenger airships, given their spotty safety records, and this incident is bound to make them even more vocal. So this is all actually alternate history. In real life, the Hindenburg went down in flames. That's one of the ways that they made this game a little bit more alternate history focused, which is cool. Let's get ourselves development in Canada, sure. But yeah, I've just noticed I've gone on for way too long. I'm going to end the episode here. If you enjoyed the video, please do leave a like down below. Leave a comment if you have anything to say, and if you want to see more, why not subscribe? Anyway, until next time, have a good one, folks.